Hello, and thank you for joining us for CloudRadial's August product update. I'm Marketing Director Seth Wilson, and joining me today is our CEO, Jeff Farris, and Ricky Cecchini, our Business Development Director. Just to let you know, we got another webinar coming up here on August 27th about the perfect ticketing experience. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit talking about ticketing. We've got a new fast path ticketing feature. We're also going to be going over favicon customization, our version 3 of our desktop application, and surface warranty integration. So a lot of good stuff to go over today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to submit those, and if we got time at the end, we will go over them. Take it away, guys.
Hey, Seth, thanks. The August update is really interesting in the sense that we're addressing something that has been on our want list for a while, and something we've always wanted to be able to do, but weren't able to do it until we just completely re-architected the product to do this one thing, right? And that's favicon support. So that is now available in the product. It's under partner settings account. If you haven't already seen it, it's pretty easy to set up. It's going to require a few different icon settings, but then that will work in the web browser. That will work in when they go to install the app on the desktop. So it's a full favicon support down to the smallest detail. And that works today. And I have to say that that's taken us like 2 years to really nail. But
it's just a tiny icon, Jeff.
It's just tiny, but it's a pain in the rear. So so that's done today. So take advantage of that if you haven't already. It seems to work pretty well. The next thing I want to talk about when we get into this, we call it fast path ticketing. But behind fast path ticketing, like everything else here, there's a strategy that goes with it. And the strategy we're trying to address, and one of the things we've been trying to get a handle on for a while with different resources, is really dealing with the concepts of mean time to ticket, which is, I don't think that common, but it's basically how fast can a user create a ticket. And the other idea is mean time to resolution, which is how fast can their problem get resolved. And as we dug into this, as we've been working on this for a while, the core issue is that there's always been an easy way to create a ticket, whether that's an email or a phone call or a tray icon from an RMM or something similar. But those don't always lead to a fast resolution from the client. And one of the things that we keep seeing over and over, when you have resources such as CloudRadial, you have alternatives to a ticket, and you have a whole new way to present that information. Ricky, I mean, I think you've seen this a lot in your onboardings in working with MSPs on this idea of making it easy to ticket and focusing on that rather than the time to resolution.
It's really interesting because I talk to, at this point, I mean, I'm almost at the 200s of MSPs, certainly in the hundreds. Probably high hundreds. And it's, I talk to people that have every single kind of step of maturity, right? From your one-man shop to enterprise level. And it's still kind of the same thing where they come to us, and when we're talking about ticketing experience specifically, it's kind of like, I'm looking to replace this. Can it do this, right? And they're really looking for kind of what Jeff's talking about, the mean time to ticket. Can I do a desktop app ticket? Can I right click somewhere, hit submit a ticket? Can I go to a place and click a ticket in 2 clicks instead of 3 clicks and all that kind of stuff? Which I think is fine, but really kind of what Jeff's talking about is more of a mindset than anything else. It's kind of like a new way to envision this. Side note, personal anecdote that I think helps a lot with those of you that are familiar with how CloudRadial has grown in the past even year. I mean, of course, the whole time, but recently we've really expanded a lot of the ways that we offer support, right? We're not just telling you to go email support app and go put in a ticket. There's, the knowledge base that has expanded dramatically. There's now an academy with training resources in various different ways. There is an entire team of people that handle different stuff. So we have, obviously sales departments, and we have marketing departments, we have support. So breaking all of this up and kind of getting a new mindset to how you tackle the resolution and not the ticketing is kind of the key here. And that's what we're talking about when you're saying when you have the resources. So where CloudRadial puts you in a really interesting position, as we'll see here in a second, I don't want to give it away, is really emphasizing the resources that you have available and showing them how how clients can take care of themselves as often as they want and quicker than you can, and they can still reach out to you. So you still maintain the personal relationship, just like we do with you guys, but giving them the power to automate as much as possible and just have a better experience when they interact with you. So there's various different methodologies in play here, but keep in mind as we see all this, it's going to be something maybe you're not necessarily used to in many other places, but bringing it all together, especially with what we've been doing, I think makes a whole lot of sense, as you'll see.
Yeah, and I think if we go to kind of the basic theory here is just because it's fast ticket creation, it doesn't necessarily equal fast resolution. And so
Right.
There's a lot of solutions on the market now that offer up a either a tray icon. Ricky, if you can go to that next slide.
Good thing.
Yeah, there we go. So there's a lot of solutions on the market today that make it really easy to go create a ticket. And Automate has a tray icon. Most of the RMMs have a tray icon. There's buttons you can press to get to a ticketing portal. In fact, a lot of our competition typically boils down, or a lot of our customers come to us simply because they're using some other ticketing portal now that makes it easy to create a ticket. And one of the things that's interesting with that mean time to ticketing optimization is that it doesn't really solve the core problem, which is the client has a problem they're trying to solve. And so what we want to be able to do is basically what we want to focus on is how we can optimize that ticket workflow. You know, in other words, if you think about the typical workflow, it's something along the lines of, from a user perspective, do I need help, right? Because that's not always clear that they want to start the process of asking for help at all, especially if they know that that process is going to create a ticket and that's going to take another time from them. But when they create the ticket, we always know that the ticket very rarely comes in complete. It always requires a back and forth. We even see this with our own tickets when we deal with MSPs directly. We're often asking for more information than was provided in the original ticket. So we know that there's a back and forth from even the smartest users. And then from there, there's a time to resolve that problem once it's identified, and then there's a time to communicate. And that's if you focus on the ease of ticketing. The other way to think about it is focus on the speed of resolution. So if I can take a little bit extra time as a client and answer a form or provide more complete information, then the initial information that's required, that speed, that time required to do that back and forth goes down dramatically. Let's just assume the time to process request is the same, to notify the client's the same. The net result is if the client spends just a few seconds more in solving that problem, they get their problem solved faster. And that's really what they want to do. Because one of the things in this back and forth that clients often overlook is that's time out of them as well. A lot of times we look at ticketing forms and we look at that whole process of creating forms for clients as a way to optimize the time of the technical staff. But really, at the end of the day, that time back and forth, every time you have to have a client respond back, that's time out of their day, that's a time away from their job, and that needs to be added back to the create a ticket time. So what we want to do is basically direct people to the right resources, get that ticket in complete, get it processed quickly, and get it resolved in a faster way than if we just leave them to their own devices of a phone or email or a ticket pop-up. But ultimately, the goal really is once the user decides that they need help, we'd like to answer that question right off the bat. You know, at CloudRadial, we spend a lot of time on support and in the academy, because again, our goal here is to make sure that you never really call us for support, because all the answers you need or want are in our support system. And if we can cut out a ticket, that's the fastest way we can respond back to you, is make sure that you don't need to wait for us to respond back to your ticket. So in CloudRadial, and the release that will be out Monday, and we wanted to preview this because it is a major change, and we want to give you time to get a heads up on what's going to happen in the product. But the search box at the top of the page has been greatly enhanced. So basically, we're going to use this as the fast path, so a client can get their their problem resolved. So basically, they're going to start in that question box or that search box up there with either a question or a comment. From there, it's going to open up a search dialog, and that search dialog is going to basically summarize all of the resources that you've made available in CloudRadial, whether it's forums or quick starts or knowledge-based articles. And it will also bring in articles from selected websites. One of the challenges we often find in searching for PC problems is most of the times if you search for a PC problem, the chances of going to a malware site or an annoying site are very high and confusing to the user. So what we have done with the FastPath process is we basically let you limit the websites that a user can search and the results that come up here. So by default, it comes with support.microsoft.com, but you can add other sites like support.google.com for certain clients that are G Suite centric. So again, what they're going to get is a list of relevant results that are attempting to solve their problem. And again, if they don't find the answer there, then there's still the ticket process, and they can still click the open a ticket link and describe their problem, basically assign a priority to it, and then submit that ticket. And so the goal really is to make this process drop dead simple for the user, to try to, again, to optimize the resolution time of an issue. So that, again, when they notice they have a problem, we'd like for you to have the answers right there for them. And if that doesn't solve it, then we'd like for them to be able to easily reach out to you as needed. And all of this is customizable. I mean, the routing on the tickets, how this works, how this flows, again, this is a fully customizable piece. We've even done a lot of optimizations so that you can change the strings that you show to people. So again, hopefully it makes it a little more multilingual for those customers that need that. And then, so if you look at FastPath overall, what we're going to do is basically start with that user phrase or question, show them the relevant results, link them to the existing resources you have maybe put together already in CloudRadial. We're going to pull in the other resources that again, are smart resources for the user. Again, this isn't a case of MSPs abrogating support. This is the MSPs basically augmenting the support they offer through their own knowledge articles with content from sites that have already been pre-vetted. And again, fully accessible for tickets as you go back. Now, CloudRadial FastPath, the other piece to it that's so important is we'll see here in just a second, is it's fully integrated with the new desktop that we're going to talk about here in just a second. Because one of the things that we want to be able to do is when a user hits a key combination or presses a USB button, we want to make sure they go to the source to get the answers. Again, when they click that button or they ask for that help, we don't want to presuppose that it's going to go to a ticket, because that's actually the least desirable outcome. And again, if you think about how Amazon or AT&T or Verizon or any major vendor works with you, as a client yourself, they don't lead you directly into support. They lead you to their knowledge base. They lead you to their to information about your account. They basically do everything they can to answer your question without you having to submit a ticket. The goal in those businesses, as in ours and in yours as well, is to resolve the problem, not create a ticket interaction. And so if you can resolve it through a speedy, fast path type process, we think that's a huge win for your clients, and ultimately a huge win for you, because again, if you can cut down the tickets and create happier clients at the same time, that's a home run.
I think in regards to what we were talking about earlier, right? When we talked about if I may take a couple slides back for a quick moment, when we talk about this stuff, this overview of giving them all the options, a lot of people, when they come to us, and again, I talk to most of you guys in demos and in onboardings and all that kind of stuff, is that seldom do we have people that have absolutely nothing, right? And they come to CloudRadial for sure for a ticketing experience to kind of better that, but combining your own IP and offering your value in here. Say you plug in your own knowledge base to be searched, right? Or maybe your own, other catalog of pre-selected things. you're offering a whole bunch of value to your clients that builds into not just the ticketing experience, which is obviously what we're talking about today, but your entire client-facing experience. And putting that in and making that more relevant is really what we're trying to do here. I mean, it's part of a bigger strategy for sure. And don't get caught in the technicalities of where does the ticket route or all that stuff, because I know that kind of is natural, but really think about this from what can you offer to your clients that's different from everybody else, and how can you get them to, again, resolve that ticket as fast as possible, not just get them to pop open, the box. That's all.
Got some questions from the audience. If this would be a good time to address them, unless you got something.
Yeah, sure. Before we move on to the desktop, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's relevant to these. Brian Weiss said that he loves the idea of self-help. It is nice when clients help themselves. One question was searching existing KB articles on CloudRadial, the ones that they have in their knowledge base currently.
Yeah, it searches there. I mean, that'll show up in the search list on the left. So any support articles they've already had will be pulled out. We actually use just a little bit of AI to make that smarter, so that when they search for Outlook, we hopefully get the right results up. So so it isn't fully integrated with the knowledge base article, and then you can integrate not only support at Microsoft.com, but you can integrate basically any third-party source. So if you've got an external knowledge base that you're using now, you can link that in and add that to the list of relevant search results as well.
Also, a question about IT Glue. Would we be able to use IT Glue as a reference?
So what you will need to do there, if you will reference those IT Glue articles in through and link them into the knowledge base, then we'll actually pull in the text from those IT Glue articles, and you'll be able to source those up. Now, the only challenge is those IT Glue articles need to be already preloaded in the CloudRadial knowledge base, or those links provided. But if you'll do that, then we should be able to pull in anything that you've got in IT Glue as well, or the things that you want the client to see from IT Glue, or from any website for that matter. Again, anything will work. Any third-party website that you can link through an article, you should find searchable in the search results.
All right, we might have a few more at the end here, but please. More features.
Okay. All right, so the next piece we'll talk about is the version 3 of the desktop. And, this has been a very interesting experience for us, and how much we've learned about the ways this is used, the ways this can be deployed. And so in version 3, I think we've addressed most of the core requirements, in the biggest one being configurable auto login. So if the user's on a local Active Directory, or if they're in Windows or Azure Active Directory, and we can detect that either through an API call or through a registry setting, then we'll basically automatically log that client in as soon as that application starts up. And so what that means is, if the machines are already pre-configured, users already are using this either in Office 365 or on an on-prem setup, that desktop app will be good to go and live as soon as it hits the tray icon. And then that opens up a lot of additional, not only does that make it easier to link back into the FastPath process, or getting support without having to log in, what it really does is open up broadcast. Because one of the things we've been working on as well was that it was talked about last month in the releases, was the improved broadcast capability that we have now. And so if the desktop app can open and be signed in right away, that means that you can broadcast right away as well. And so the broadcast capability combined with the desktop client, really we see as maybe the home run of this whole process. We've also updated this desktop to allow for sticky broadcast, because in version 2, that comes up in the typical Windows toast notifications, but that means it goes away in 10 seconds. And so the new one, there's a whole nother way to do broadcast. If you've sent a broadcast in the last hour and they log in, they're going to be able to see that broadcast, so they don't have to be logged in right away. We've already added notifications to the toolbar inside of CloudRadial already. So if you see the little horn icon up at the top, users can see their existing broadcast. And so now in the desktop app, basically that sticky broadcast capability is there and will pop up anytime you want to send them something that they need to see. The other piece to that is we've always had screenshots. Version 3 adds the ability to snip a portion of the screen as opposed to doing the full all monitor screenshot. So if a user wants to snip a certain section, highlight what they want to show you, and then send that to you, they can. And then we're also doing basic diagnostics. So again, websites they visited, websites they visited, current running processes. So again, you're going to get a quick snapshot of what's going on when they submit that ticket. So again, diagnostics will be attached when they submit that ticket from the machine, just like the screenshots are. We're giving you more configuration options. And one of the things that has always been an issue, because again, we're encapsulating the full browser, is when you're not using the app for a while, sometimes that browser continues to run in the background. So what we've done is we've basically done some things in version 3 to basically free up as much memory as possible. So when the app is minimized, it's as light as possible on that desktop. So again, that makes things work better. There's been numerous issues we found with RDP or remote workstation type setups. Most of those, or all of those, as far as we know, are addressed in this release. So version 3 works really well. It should work in almost any environment. And again, with the hotkey combination, that means that you can link in USB buttons, hubs, etc. Anything that will trigger that hotkey combination will be able to invoke the desktop app. So again, we're going to make this super simple for you to provide to your clients, provide that integrated broadcasting auto login. Version 3 is a huge step up from where we are today. We're also addressing the build process. So again, because of the version release and the problems with updating with clients, there's been issues updating desktop apps with users that don't have admin rights. So again, we're revamping the way that the processes or the installers built to make it easier for you to push out and know when to push out through your RMM. So the desktop's a huge step up from where we were. So going on in other updates, one of the things, again, we just continue to make the warranty information better. And so as we've added support for Microsoft Surface devices now, that brings it on par with Lenovo, Dell, and HP devices. So again, all of that's coming in, the warranty information, the original ship date information. You don't need any third-party tools to do that. We'll be adding support here shortly to update the configs in the PSA. So again, we can be the source of truth for the clients. Again, when the agent checks in, we'll just bring in all that information as well. One of the other big features in this release as well is custom user profile info. For right now, if you typically, when a user clicks their profile information, they get the list of helpful Microsoft links, which was maybe more helpful 2 years ago, not as helpful today. So now that's fully customizable, either at the partner level or at the company level. We're doing some things to speed up auto task. We've added help to the login button. We've found some partners doing some really great videos on training. And so now they can link those training videos for their clients right from the login screen. So that's all built in there. And then we've also added, again, that notifications display I mentioned earlier, package identification, which I think is really helpful. So again, when you pull up content and it shows that it's under subscription, we're going to be able to show you exactly which subscription that's coming from. Date range display on the ticket portal, IP restrictions. Again, we're seeing more and more MSPs with on-premise ConnectWise, for example, wanting to be able to dial in which machines can access. So again, we're going to make that simpler. And we're supporting private attachments in ConnectWise so that, again, not every attachment shows up in the ticket when you don't want it. So, and then there's just numerous bug fixes, small refinements and stuff to go on, but we've really spent a lot of time this last month revamping the thought process of what it takes to resolve tickets, how better we can make it at the desktop level, and we tied all that stuff together, I think, in a nice new update. But the thing I think I'm most excited about going into the fall is that we've actually been able to readjust resources. So again, the development team has got now more time on their hands. We've completed some of the big projects. And so we've really kind of freed up a lot of time and energy for the next few months to keep up the pace of future product releases. We've got a lot of stuff planned, and we're really excited to be able to get back to it 100%, starting now. So, Ricky, I mean, again, I just tend to go on and on. Ricky, you got any thing you want to add to this?
Yeah, through my one, be like, please don't forget. I kind of build that academy for you. It's got so much good training in there. It's got lots of different things in there that I think you figure out how to use CloudRadial to its fullest. And the nice thing is that as CloudRadial, just like Jeff's saying, as it evolves, as we get more and more use out of it, right? Processes will change, buttons will change, all that kind of stuff. I'm doing my utmost to make sure that all that stuff is reflected in the academy. I hate when I go to any knowledge base, doesn't matter where, and I try to look for something and the layouts change, all that kind of stuff. And we're fully aware of how much that sucks. We're not trying to do that at all. Case in point, for example, if you didn't know that the favicons were a thing now, even the branding lesson already has that in there. So inevitably, when the FastPath comes out and kind of finalize everything, all that stuff is going to be available. So it's a resource that is great for training, but also great for keeping up to date on the product. So peek your head in there, and you can sign up yourself by going to your own partner account, and then you're going to have the Academy tab, invite yourself, invite other team members, and you can do a lot of stuff. I mean, you can check people's progresses and everything from there too. So it's very, very helpful. So please don't make me feel like I did it all in vain. I want you guys to use my Academy, please.
Yeah, the Academy's awesome. Any other questions, Seth?
Yeah, we had a question about desktop application updates. Is that something that can only be done through RMM deployment? Since a lot of end users are not admins on their machines.
So typically, what you want to do is push that out through the RMM. I think the first version, we made it self-updating like other things, and then ran into the problem with users not having admin rights. So what we want to do is make that process more streamlined. Again, you'll still need the RMM to push out the updates, but we want to do in this next release to make that easier for you to see when it's time to push out a new update, when a new update's available, and then make sure you've got the right link to be able to push out that script too. So you'll see some improvements in the provisioning process of that. But again, at the end of the day, it's still going to be an RMM push back out to your client.
All right. When does V3 drop?
So we are crossing our fingers that all this that we showed today drops on Monday. Wanted to give you a heads up that this stuff's coming. Again, that's the engineering side of our firm says Monday, which means it could be Tuesday or Wednesday, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure it's on Monday. So
tell those jerks to get to work, Jeff.
That's right.
It's you. It's all Jeff.
We're all in this together. So
let's see. A question from Curtis asking, is training content date stamped?
When people access the courses, you can see when they last accessed it and how often or how far into it they got it. So yeah, you can see when they last accessed the academy and everything from the same area.
I think the question are the courses time stamped as far as relevance or when they were last updated?
Oh, I don't think that they are. I could be wrong as I think about it. I'm not sure if they have like a last updated. I do know that we have a system because we use a third-party LMS that should send you an email when I do updates, so you won't be out of date of that. So it should say literally like, hey, there's new updates to this course in the academy, go check it out. But I don't think when you go there and check a look, it says like this is the last day.
Yeah, the other thing is with the academy is everything is kept up to date in the academy. So, within it may be a couple of weeks back and forth between the stuff that we announced, like the stuff we're announcing today with FastPath, that may be a couple of weeks before it's in the academy. But at the same time too, everything in there is designed to be current. I mean, that is our primary way of making sure that your team is kept up to date. And again, if you're getting those updates, then you'll see the changes as they come. Or you'll stay up to date with our product update, either webinars. This will all be summarized in an email next week out to everybody. So As long as people are on our mail list, they'll get that update. So again, all the stuff that we're doing should keep you fairly up to date. We try not to let stuff get aged in either the academy or the support base, because again, that just creates more support tickets for us, right? So the better we are at providing the resources, then the less tickets you create, and the more you can engage and fully embrace the product. So.
The last question is for Ricky. Where did you get your desktop background?
Oh, you like it? my Dark Souls desktop background. Thank you very much. That is courtesy of Google Images LLC.
Cool. Well, and there's a lot of questions having to do with feature requests. Make sure you guys go submit those. You can do that inside your account. Also, there's a lot of questions like, will you be able to view this later, or will the slide deck be available? We'll have this presentation up on YouTube here a little later today. Our channel's youtube.com/CloudRadial. Go subscribe if you haven't yet, please. And I think that's about it for questions, though.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in today, and look forward to other feedback, because I know this is just going to start a wave of other questions related to FastPath, but hopefully you see where we're headed, and we can really make a difference to make sure that clients get their problems answered. Not only can they ask their question quickly, but they get it resolved quickly as well. So thanks for tuning in. Everybody stay safe, and we'll talk in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much.
See you August 27th for the perfect ticketing experience, our next webinar. Go sign up for that. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
It's just you left, Ricky.
Oh,
Just
no.
you.
Well, I should probably leave, I suppose. Goodbye.